or a million ampere hours.
Can't believe you would say that.
And so, in theory, blobs would be better for total capacity, like on the device. Mine is probably like a quick, cheap option that you could just snag right away and just use for like simple charges.
I might honestly go with Bob's, but I'm not quite sure.
It's also like that. Ash's smaller,
smaller
wise.
Yeah,
okay.
So like this is going to be like in your pocket or in your backpack or something. Like maybe
it's not that much smaller, but it is smaller.
Yeah. You're so lucky Stream can't hear you.
Your pocket warm, or is that just your battery?
Chat,
What?
just to prove Ash wrong, I just said, is that a battery in your pocket, or are you happy to see me?
You are happy to see.
Nice try.
I'm not.
You just unmuted it just for that. Smart guy.
What do you mean?
That is what he did. You are correct. That is what happened. He gave proof of what he said.
I did.
Can't believe you would think that. Trying to blaspheme good, honest Kadroth?
Yeah, it's not like Bob ever does that.
No, why would I ever do that?
Yeah, this is the first time in a while you've actually kept yourself unmuted for the start of stream like this.
And why wouldn't I?
Because you know
good, honest
what you do.
Vampire Hunter.
I ain't gotta tell you.
How do you know I'm not just mute and you guys are actually just talking to each other?
Because I'm literally listening to you here and
like, you can't prove that I don't unmute myself at the beginning of streams.
I absolutely can.
It's proving a negative.
Joke's on you, that's just my schizophrenia kicking in.
See, Steve understands. What it actually is, you guys are all part of my multiple personalities.
I don't have dialogue. You know how people have dialogues or dialogues in their head? Mine's like the UN of conversations in my brain whenever I have multiple conversations in there.
Moon Knight.
Moon Man.
The moon haunts you.
The goon haunts you. Speaking of gooning, did you see that new Gacha game with the blue spandex?
It's like everyone's just now finding out about Brown Dust 2.
Yeah. I had never seen it before. It's just
that
literally
sounds
this
nasty.
It made no sense.
This preview video of blue spandex, and I'm like, yeah, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's nice.
I don't know why that particular action was taken in that trailer, but you know, why?
Because of gooning. You know why? It's
quite literally because you have other gacha games that are doing this that are big and prominent. Mihoyo. You're basically having to see some of these smaller gacha games that have always done this really ramp it up, which is interesting because it's curious to see just how far they can go. Has a lot of fan service, not much gameplay. Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm seeing two different responses here. It's BD2 is great, and BD2 has the worst name.
I mean, it definitely has the worst name. I mean, literally, it probably sounds better and has different connotations in other languages, but in English, that sounds like shit dust.
Critical 2.
Yeah, there's no way around that.
How do you do, fellow youths? Are you enjoying Shitwind 2?
I'm surprised somebody didn't respond to that and be like, I'd eat her brown dust.
Cancel CAD.
Listen, I wouldn't. But I'm surprised I didn't see someone with that as a response.
See, we have one person that said never, so everyone else who didn't answer never technically would.
That reminds me of the joke of like last person in the pool is gay, and then they jump in, and then if nobody goes into the pool, well,
kiss your homies goodnight.
I kiss my homies goodnight.
So this is what Ken's usually mean.
I saw that.
Yes.
Yep.
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 Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yup. Yep. 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 Yep.
I don't know what they're talking about, chat. At this point, they're just a bunch of yuppers.
Oh.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yep.
Someone trying to discredit good, honest Kadroth.
Yep.
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 How dare they?
Yep. 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 Yep.
Someone
Yep.
made a-
Yep. 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 Yep.
Someone made a model of the Rock from Helldivers.
The boulder is pleased.
You know the one, chat. The Rock.
Say what you mean, Bob.
Penis Rock.
Bob, why would you say that?
Yeah.
Why would you say that, Kadroth?
You asked me to say it.
I just-
Dingle rock.
This is really funny because this is turnabout being fair play here. You see, chat, Bob always baits me into saying something terrible and then goes like, oh my god, Cad, why would you say that? And makes it somehow sound even worse.
But you never say anything.
That's
Because
true.
you're
I
a good,
actually,
honest Kadroth,
most of the
you're
time Bob
always
does this to me, I
on-
said something completely innocuous.
Yeah, it's true. I am a terrible person. I lie to chat all the time. Especially when it
I'll
comes to
say
math.
something terrible.
Oh no.
Like, whenever you see Bob did the math, you should never trust that. Because Bob did the math after hours and brain doesn't work after. Anyways, I'm gonna go have fun. Don't wear pants.
Don't
Where are you
You
going?
can trust me on that.
You're
though.
going to that www.twitch.tv/Cadrel stream, right?
Oh yeah, I'm already here.
Oh, okay. Prove it.
Good.
Have a good one.
Have a good
Later.
one, Bob.
All right. Is the world flat or is the world round, chat?
Oh god. Oh no.
The world is Harambe, Ash. We already went over this.
Hold on. Let's see what they say. Let's see what they say.
It's a hot dog. We all know it. And we're throwing it down the hallway.
Hot dog, you're getting looked at.
We're throwing it down the hallway.
What?
Actually, Kat, I believe the
Depends on the
Earth is a
year.
hot durger.
Hot durger, I
Depends on the
see.
year. Egg.
Egg.
All right. Type 1 if you think the world is flat. Type 2 if you think it's
Just make it a poll, Ash.
No, because this is the immersion you need for the chat.
Ash,
This is
I'm
going-
going to slap you.
I agree with Lotus. The world is a vampire and it's set to drain.
Oh
You know, fair enough.
Jesus.
World is a vampire, damn it.
Just wanna hold your hand.
Ew, that's lewd.
What did I do with today's artwork? Better yet, what did I do with yesterday's artwork? There it is.
Better yet, what is?
How it be?
How do?
You don't think it be,
What
but
it
it
do?
do.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go do.
Okay.
Okay, bye,
I didn't
Kat.
think it'd be,
Who was
but it
that?
do.
It do too.
では前に出ます
Okay. We are all set up and ready to go, chat. I just got the tweet out. Do me the favor, go give that some love. And oh yeah, the last thing is I just need to grab today's sauce, which is, where did I put that? God, why do I keep doing this? I swear, I have too many tabs open. There it is. Okay. Halcyon, thank you for the follow. Welcome. All right, we're good to go, chat. Let's get this party started. Hello. Here is today's artwork. Do me the favor as well. Go give the artist some love on that. It's another beautiful Lartoria. Not that that surprises anybody at this point. You know, there was a point where I used to do a lot more art pieces from around the FGO fandom, but I've become a one trick because I've just realized that I like Lartoria. And I still do other Artorias. Holy moly, 25 Grails and Lores? What are you talking about? What do you mean 25 Grails and Lores? What is that even supposed to, like... You just localize them in your area or something? Hello, bias? Is that like slang? You trying to like call me a name here? Chad, I think we have a lot of I think we have a lot of login bonuses right now. I think they want you to log in. Oh, what's that? Why do I suddenly have 50 things over here? Huh. Welcome to JP chat. Yeah, so we got the 31 million downloads campaign, and it came literally out of nowhere. Feels good. Feels really good. You know what? I'm just gonna take a picture of that. Save that for later. Just think you can plan your future grails around this now? I can, though admittedly that will be 2 years in the future. So that is still a long way off. Apparently there is still 100 quartz here left to get. I don't think I can get any of that in any reasonable time. Because most of it is things like milestones that I'm just kind of locked out of. Actually not sure what the 48 out of 51 is. Yeah, I probably have some strengthenings and interludes left to do. Bottom left shows the remaining max achievable missions. Yes. It's nice. I like it. I think it's great. But yeah, this is the current state of JP. It was weird because I noticed we were going down for maintenance last night as I went to go do my missions. I think I had enough to do like one more run. I got into the node, did the run, but before I finished the run, we got hit with maintenance. And I was like, wait, there's maintenance tonight? Huh? And I was sitting there, I was like, why? Like, we had the end of the like 75% off for all the strengthenings and interludes, which I didn't get all of them done, so that's on me. But it shouldn't have been enough for maintenance. And I was like, that's weird. What are they doing? What am I going to wake up to tomorrow? And sure enough, I wake up and I'm like, huh? As I'm just staring at my phone, I'm just like, what do you mean another download campaign? And part of the reason for this is, chat, and I'll show you guys little snippet of Avalon's tracking sheet that he had. But like quite literally, right? Like, y'all can see the pace that we were on was about like, 3 to 4-ish months in between each one. And then we went almost a year. I don't know why. It's like they just decided that the 30 million downloads campaign was special and it was going to take a long time. So it is what it is. But kind of whack, because they came right back in here and pretty much at the same pace they had been going. This is really funny to me, though, because what this definitely indicates is they did hold the 30 million download campaign. We know they did. And chat, the reason we know they did, think about all of the collab events we had last year. We had like Seal come into the game. Like, we had another BB. There's just no way. There's no freaking way with everything they did last year that they went the entirety of the year without getting 1 million downloads. So what I suspect happened is they strategically sat on it to enable themselves more time and more cushion. They knew that they wanted to put a download campaign somewhere around this time period. And even though they would have been due in the early part of the year, they knew it was the 30 million. They wanted to make it a big one. And I think this also, by delaying it, stalled it some, so they now have a little bit of a buffer. They're probably actually over 31 million, but this gives them more time in case, hey, maybe we don't hit our actual like downloads within that time period. So I think this gave them a little bit more of a buffer, and that's probably a good reason for why. Still, it's interesting, and it's curious to see that we are already just like, boom, immediately now, right back on pace. Also interesting is the end date. We know for a fact Ordeal Call is coming out here pretty much late April. So we're going to be expecting at that point that it's a thing and that it's coming up. We have a live stream on the 30th. So that coincides with this. So that tells you pretty much right after that live stream we are getting Ordeal Call for. That is what's going to happen. Because everything is just lining up with that. So I don't think that's that crazy. Guys, it wise to grind the next Lotto in NA if my only goals are QP and leveling 120 targets. Oh, if your only goals are QP and leveling to 120. So, if your goal was one of those two things, the answer would be no. With your goal being both, it's not a bad efficiency. It still is probably better to grind them separately outside of the Lotto. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say you need to go terribly hard. 4-star embers in Lottos just is the way it is. 4-star embers are fine. They're good. But the problem is, especially as we start looking towards 120, grailing and like really trying to get units leveled up to a high level. Like, I've tried to tell you guys this before, but grailing a unit every single level after 100 is the same as leveling the unit to 100 again. So trying to go to 120 is like trying to level up to 121 times. It's going to be a lot of embers, and that is exactly why people try to go with the 5-star embers. More efficient. It just literally makes the process go by a lot faster. So it is what it is. $120 takes around 400 Lotto boxes. If I remember correctly, it's somewhere around 200 or 250. We can do the math on that, though. Let's see. So how many boxes do we actually have? Or how many? It should be 25 gold embers in the Lotto, if memory serves, in each box. Yep. Okay. I usually don't count silvers. You can if you want. I just choose to treat silvers as if they are literally more mana prisms. So at 25, we're going to assume it's effective. Oh, shit. I don't have Chaldea app. So I don't have the easy access to this. I really like Chaldea app's the big thing I got to get installed after tax season here. Because I forgot to do it when I shifted over to my new computer. Yeah, so it looks like it's 18 million experience. So it would take you 555 4-star embers at that rate. Wait, that doesn't seem right. That doesn't seem right at all. What did I do wrong there? Oh, right. That's just one level. Well, here you go, chat. 25 boxes for what level? Times 20 levels. Yeah, it's 500 boxes. It is what it is. I was like, hold on. I was right. Yeah, you were. Yeah, I don't know why. I could have sworn it was something less than that. But it is. That also assumes no super greats during leveling, right? Yeah. So, like, there is a natural rate of super and great success, so you will get some. It'll be more efficient than that. But keep in mind, you can also get things where it's like, oh, your final level up going into, like let's say you're leveling from, like, 101 to 102. Your final level up going into 102 can be what actually procs, and then you don't get anything for it. It's way less likely for something like that to occur leveling to 120, though, because you spend so long actually leveling the units between their respective levels that it's usually not a big issue. As opposed to, like, lower levels where it's like it's very easy just with a single stack of embers to hit a cap. So Lottos aren't class specific CAD, so it's 2700. No. All embers always give class bonus. Always. I know how this looks. Welcome to fandom. This is one of the issues with it where like so again, chat, everyone likes to call me a fandom reader. Here's the difference. I know the difference here. Normal experience is the amount if you were using an actual class specific ember. So like let's say this was a saber ember instead, it would give 2700 to any non-saber. It would give 30 to 400 to any saber. But with an all ember, it's always perfect efficiency. It's always class efficiency. So you are literally going to get 32,400 out of that. That's weird. Yeah, I mean, part of it. So here you go. So they display it down here, but they don't make it apparent up here. So it's what it is. It's just like this sort of thing is you have to know, and it's not difficult to understand. But this particular page, due to the way they laid it out, I'm not going to fault them too hard. This sort of thing is like, it's difficult to convey because like, what example are you supposed to use, right? So it is what it is. All embers are nice for extra classes. Yes, you usually, if you're going to level up one of the 7 base classes, it's usually better to go about, and so this is another food for thought, chat. You're gonna level up one of the 7 base classes. Usually better to go about grinding ember gathering for that sort of thing. Why? Because you're going to get the 7 base classes. If you're trying to level up something else to 120, something like an extra class, what I like to do is I like to hoard, 5-star and 4-star ember stacks that are all embers. You can't farm these. That's the biggest problem. The only farm of them is Lottos, and Lottos are only a 4-star farm. I'm not saying that's better than farming Ember Gathering. It's not, because, again, even an off-class Ember will still give you far more than what an in-class all-Ember will. So, at the end of the day, you just have to say, like, look, I'm getting more bang for my buck doing it the other way around. Except Zerks now. You can't force specifically Zerks to drop, but you can get Zerks while you're farming consistently. And source myself, as somebody that is currently working on grailing a berserker. So yeah, your last wave, especially at the highest level Ember Gathering, your last wave will always be the actual rate up class or berserkers. It will never be the off class. Thanks for answering my question. No, it's all good. Sometimes I bounce around in chat and I realize I haven't answered someone's question, and I go like, oh shit, and I go back. But always happy to answer any questions you guys have. Again, thank you guys, by the way, for, doing exactly what I asked. Y'all helped out with the Lotto video. It's been doing swimmingly. It is up to almost 6,000 views already. And the devs haven't even announced the Lotto. So that's good for me, as far as I'm concerned. It's not like one of my best performing videos ever or anything like that. But that's way more of a return to form than any of my current videos have been. So... it's super helpful, thank you. Yeah, no, always appreciate it. Meanwhile, the Ryoma buff video not doing so hot, but I was talking to Okeus about that. I'm like, I don't blame you for this. It's like, that's just equal parts. This is the problem with me, where I have to wait until stream to record things. So naturally, I don't get to record it until already the news has been out and been live for let's see. 16 hours ish. And then from there, I'm usually waiting on Okeus to do the edits for me. So then that takes even longer. So it doesn't get posted until about 24 hours later. And then at that point, it's yeah, I'm just behind the curve. But that's where I've tried to tell you guys that my focus for making content is trying to just make the best content I can, trying to make sure that it's quality, that it's a good watch, that it's entertaining in some way, which frankly I got to work on. But that's what I'm trying to do with it, because I realize like I'm never going to be first. It's the natural like problem with my schedule. So make teams that I could use, but it was super helpful starting point. Yeah. The spreadsheet is great, the node's not so much. It's funny because I see a bunch of people being like, so I can just summer Ibuki this whole Lotto, right? And I'm like, no, you're not going to be able to summer Ibuki your way through everything. Like, you get to use her, but it's not going to make the node not a pain in the ass. Some of the 90++ nodes are just hairy and downright hostile, is what I would say this time around. Ryoma frankly isn't that popular. Yeah, that too. Like that's what I was kind of saying. It's like usually views on a buff upgrade are going to have a lot to do with the popularity of the unit and like how good of a buff it is. I think the vast majority of people don't give two shits about Ryoma. It is what it is. Like I make the video for not for the vast majority that don't give two shits. I make the video for the people that do, right? Because if you don't care about the unit, you weren't going to watch anyways. So I have to make it for the people that actually do care. And it's really funny because I've had the same deal where it's like people have been like, why are you talking about this character? Why like why are you making a big deal about this buff? And I'm like, just because you don't care doesn't mean someone else doesn't, right? It won't be fun, yeah. If not, I'm probably just focus on the 90+. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna tell you guys, go watch the video, go check out what I have to say on that. But like, at least one of the TLDRs I can give y'all is the 90+ nodes. If you can't 6-slot a 90++, but you can 6-slot a 90+, just do 90+. That's the trend with this Lotto. I don't know why they did it this way. I don't hate it though. I think at least at that point, it's their way of saying like, hey, the 90++ is here for like the enthusiasts that really have robust accounts, right? To me, I'm going to say this. I don't usually put a big value on time efficiency in a Lotto. However, I do think there's something to be said when I can run a 90+ twice in the same time that you can run a 90++. If I don't care about my refills, because maybe I just have a ton of apples, I'm sorry, that 90+ is just way faster at reaching my goal. Like, it is far less time that I have to spend doing anything. So that's kind of how I'm choosing to look at it this time around. I think the Ascension materials are also a big determining factor for a lot of people, so it's going to make some people prefer one node over another. But keep in mind, chat, when we're debating 90+ versus 90++, there's no real difference. I mean, there's like a very minuscule like difference in the CE drop rate. I didn't even mention it in this video because it's like it is what it is, but there's a huge jump between 90 and 90+. There is no jump really whatsoever between 90+ and 90++. So don't feel bad about whichever one of these two things you're going to do. I've seen a lot of people already fretting like, man, I didn't roll Castoria, man, I didn't roll Oberon, blah, 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 blah. Y'all can still do 90+ even without either of those two, so you should be fine. It's a fest event. You get everything day one. Although I shouldn't answer that for my own mod. My own mod should go watch the video. People still need wine? Not me, but like I said, for me, the unfortunate nature is a lot of the 90++ are better for Ascension materials. However, I don't know how much I actually need them. It is what it is. Woole bulle. Woole bulle. Woole bulle. Woole bulle. Error material. Hold on, chat. See, we include the node drop data for you guys. So, like, for me, just looking at this, I don't need anything from round one. Like, I can shore some of these materials up, like the meteor shards or the seeds of Yggdrasil, but I don't need them. Looking at wave 2, I don't need anything from round 2. Looking at round 3, the only thing that I need is right here. That's it. That's literally it. Has he started recording something? No. I'm good. So it's like, in a weird way, it doesn't matter to me what I farm here. Like I don't get that much out of farming any of the nodes strictly based off the materials that they offer. What I will very likely do, it depends. I'm a creature of habit, but I'm also a creature of boredom. So I will probably flex back and forth between these. One, to show off like some capability and be like, hey, this is kind of what you guys can do. But two, because like I am just literally going to get bored grinding one node the entire time. Honestly, this node kind of evil. This node really kind of evil. Like, it is such a dickish node. You have a 350k enemy on each wave. They knew what they were doing and they were asses about it. But I wouldn't mind the yarn and the mirrors there some. I really don't need either of these two materials. Both of these two mats are beyond dead to me, and both of them have been extremely farmable in the past. Honestly, round 3 is the most competitive because, like, even the Oni Lanterns could be something that I could go for. I definitely don't need Bacchus Wine, but the Urn of Ashes, it's nice. It is also annoying on attribute trait and alignment to combat. Yeah. Well, keep in mind, chat, Ortoland, Hilder, and Thrud are the exact same traits. So they're sky attribute. They are what, divine and what's the other major one? Lawful, I think. So they've got a lot. Lawful Summer, yeah. Like, they actually have a lot of stuff to exploit, but it's like usually not the most exploitable things is the problem. .5 mats is in the Abbey Lotto, so it's also skippable. Abbey Lotto. You're talking about I don't want to go to fandom. Dear God. You're talking about Last Christmas. That's a good point. I had forgotten this was a thing. yeah, I'm good. Like, I do not need a significant number of these. Wait, hold on. 15 per append. Why 75? Oh, 5 append. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. My brain still has not adjusted to that. I was sitting there, I was just like, that doesn't add up. That's only 45. Where are the other 30 coming from? Really tax brain run. I think it has, chat. So I got pissed. Let's talk about this. I'm sitting there. It's like 4 o'clock. I have been hammering away like all day. My eyes, like literally, chat. I stare at computer screens so often that like right now I'm having almost like what I like to call like an eye attack, where I will just like sit there and it'll be like something innocuous and I'll like rub my eye. And all of a sudden it will profusely start just watering. And I'll be like, ah. And like I end up sitting there for like the next like 5 minutes trying to just like dry my eyes. Because what happens, I think, is like I've just been staring so intently at the screen without like blinking. And then like when I do that, I start to blink and then my eyes are like, now's our time. And it's like they finally begin to water just profusely as it's trying to like make up a bunch, right? Tiamat will have a hard time hitting the 350k wave for 1 and 2. Yeah. Yeah, which I mean, certainly doable, but that's definitely a little bit spicy on that end. But so that happens. So it's like 4 o'clock. I'm sitting there. I've been working it out all day. And like I do that. I have another one of these like eye attacks. I'm just like, oh my God. And in walks the other senior accountant. She comes to talk to me and she's like, how are you coming on yours? Yada, yada, yada. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, well, I'm doing okay. Like unable to like actually see her. And then she goes and she tells me, she's like, yeah, we only have like 50 returns left to work up. And I'm like, what do you mean we only have like 50 returns left? She's like, yeah, and like 25 of the remaining 50 are just kind of like single like government form things where we didn't want to like, we use like a scanning software to like get everything into our programs and stuff, and like we didn't want to use the click on that because it would cost us money. There's only like 25 like actual ones, and the rest are just really simple easy ones. And I'm like, why has everyone been like dooming and glooming, saying we're not going to get done, saying this is going to go get kicked into like the next week, and that like all of this shit is just like going to hell in a handbasket? I'm just like, what the fuck is actually going on? And I know the way it is because how our business works is we'll work up everybody that already has their stuff to us. But then we will start to work up people that don't have their stuff to us that need to be worked up. So there's still going to be more to do after those 50. But like that just immediately took a huge load off for me. And I was like, why has everybody been like cracking the whip so hard and like been so like doomy and gloomy when we're clearly ahead of schedule and in good position? So I'm just like, she left the room and my eyes finally cleared up and I'm just sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck? So like it's both a happy moment, but it's also like a like this is deeply upsetting to me type of thing. Caster Q doesn't do enough at level 70. Need to have him Grail to do a 350k wave in wave 1. Well, keep in mind, chat, you can always use the damage C. But if you're using the damage C, basically you probably shouldn't be doing the 90 plus plus. Okay, that's classic dry eye. Yeah, but like it's only been happening to me recently, and I think it's just because like quite literally how much like screen time I've had. Chat, what even is the outside? What even is touching grass? Like, have you thought about buying those glasses to help you with watching screens? No, I mean, like, I do occasionally get some light sensitivity, but if I actually do, I just straight up, like, I get those little, like, slivers in the eyes. You know what I'm talking about, right, chat? And so it's like, if I start to get that sort of thing, I just, like, I put on my sunglasses. Which helps. It really does. But it's like, I don't know if chat can tell, but, like, my eyes right now, like, they're tired. Like, they're just... I heard outside there's greenery, like thing called grass or something. Heard it can be a bit pokey. In Florida, it definitely can because we have St. Augustine grass. So. Although it's said to be a myth and used as a way to scare indoor type people, I see. In the case of dry eyes, clear eyes is awesome. Yeah. Was it Ben Stein that was the person for that commercial? I know the pollen is wrecking my eyes, they burn. It probably is the pollen is the issue why. In Florida, it could be full of gators too. That's true. He messed up his vision for a year and needed glasses until they recovered. That's whack. I can't say I've ever had anything like that. However, I can say, oh, that feels so much better. So anyways, back to FGO. Uh-oh. I have a minute and I don't know what's in this node. Screw it. Let's do it live. All for you. Flying tree gators, right? I usually don't answer tax questions, Fletcher, but with regards to something like that, do understand, like, you probably are going to see, like, a lot of accounting services raise their prices right now. You're probably even going to see the price of the softwares go up as well, just due to the way things have kind of been, right? If you have a simple return, doing it with yourself, yeah, it's fine. Like, if all you have is like a W-2 or something like that, I don't know why you weren't doing it in that case. Worst case scenario, if you're unsure about stuff, you can always take it down to like an H&R Block or something like that and get them to file it for you. But in general, it's like if it's really simple, yeah, I just advise doing it yourself. The second you start getting into more complex things, that's where I would not do it yourself. Is this Kenshin? This is Kenshin. Unfortunately, we have to skip Kenshin. Lubricating eye drops only. Oh, yeah. Like, I get red eyes all the time, but you get red eyes because they're inflamed, like either from like you rubbing it or like allergies are bothering you. Like quite literally, you don't need anything that's going to try to get rid of that redness. You need something that's instead going to treat what's causing it. We're going to leave that. Because I'm going to have some issues with refund here. Can you guess what I started already? Yes, the next Lotto spreadsheet. To be fair, the best time to do the next Lotto spreadsheet is while you're fresh on having made the prior Lotto spreadsheet. So, is it the Lotto with Nemo? Yeah. Yeah, Nemo's at the end of the year. That's a shell Lotto. There's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna be like, "Oh my god, I have to farm that like crazy," and I don't blame them. Don't fall away and leave love bleeding in my hands. I wonder if the 2 upgrades we just got for this rerun are the only ones we'll get for this. Some people were like, hey, do you think you're going to get a Takasugi upgrade? Because I think he has a banner, they were saying, coming up here. And it's like, I mean, maybe. Like I can't say, like, I can't say that he couldn't get one, right? Like, it's not like Takasugi's the most overpowering archer. In fact, I think a little bit he struggles to find usage points to some degree. So, if they want to buff him, I think that's A-okay. I think, if anything, right now, I'm in favor of them doing more buffs, not less. But will they? That's another question. Okay, what if I enter a box wrong on TurboTax and the IRS shoots my kneecaps? They're not going to shoot your kneecaps. They're just going to send you a really nicely worded letter. And then you'll have to do it again. You may even have to go take a trip to see them. And if you ignore that trip and that letter, they might take a trip to see you. So choice is yours. I wonder if I can make Summer BB and double Van Gogh to work in the Ilya Lotto. You wonder if you can make it work. You can probably make it work. However, it's not going to be consistent. What's the main thing that goes you choose Mud Rain over Black Grail? Which kind of overcharge effects make the difference for Mud Rain? There's going to be 2. Basically, a unit that gets extra charge from their overcharge. So, like Lartoria, Artoria, Mordred are your chief like examples of that. The second group of people are people that get a really strong damage buff from it. This is usually going to be something like a multi-turn duration effect that can scale really nice. So let's say like multi-turn NP damage up. Or somebody that basically can get just a ton of raw power out of it. It's like a Ration Qingong. I've seen people that can like get really strong, super effective modifiers out of it that don't scale normally. I've seen people that like, for instance, Kentoki has an insanely scaling overcharge because his scales all the way up to like 90% quick up for 1 turn. So when you start thinking about stuff like that, that's where you can consider like, hey, hold on, this might actually out damage Black Grail. So it's basically the idea behind it is that the servant you were going to use was either going to have no alternative to use Black Grail. That is, they couldn't start from 0 without using Mud Rain and its overcharge benefit. Or, quite literally, they're a unit that scales better with overcharge than they do with Black Grail. Which is rare, but it can happen. plus 2 stages is 30%. Yeah, I mean that's something like that's possible, especially if you feel like you don't need it for like Lohi herself. Like you know that you'd be able to get away with Mud Rain as opposed to Black Grail. Then using something like that to buff somebody else in the party it'd be a smart usage. Not like one of the conventional reasons that I would say to use it, but that's, you know, hey, you understand the concept, you use it right, more power to you. What happens if you're out for vacation when the tax man comes? The tax man comes and finds you. And you better hope it's an overseas vacation. However, here's the problem. If it's an overseas vacation, you don't get to come back from that one. Otherwise, they'll get you when you come back. Still haven't got a single mud rain yet. Yeah, it's wild. Like my JP has MLB mud rain and still doesn't have MLB Black Grail. Meanwhile, my NA does my NA actually have MLB mud rain yet? I don't remember. I think it's close now, or it's got like 2 or 3 or something. And make it a permanent overseas vacation. That's not what I'm saying. However, I am simply saying that if you did, it would have to be permanent because the IRS does not forget. They're like an elephant. They do have a statute of limitations, though. Just not on you owing them money. There's no statute of limitations on that. Have a Swiss bank account, Fivehead? That won't do anything for you. They won't be able to touch your money in the Swiss bank account, but it's not going to stop them from like levying and leaning everything that you own. Like, they'll just sit there and they'll go like, all right, cool, you can keep your money over there, we can't touch it, but you can't do anything. It's really funny too because the IRS always gets you somehow. For instance, it's very hard to secure any sort of loan, either by way of like getting a loan for your business or by getting a mortgage or anything like that, without filing a tax return. So the second you try to get a bank or a lending institution involved, they will literally just go tell you you have to give us a current year tax return. So even people that try to sit there and like evade taxes year after year end up like, we see it all the time. We get people that come in and are like, hey, I need to file my last 5 years of taxes. And you're like, oh yeah? And inevitably they're like, yeah, and I need it soon because I'm trying to get a loan. And I'm like, guess what, fucko? It's like, you go to the back of the list. And it's like, they're not necessarily going to go to the back of the list, but it'll be one of those deals where it's like, I'm sorry, these other clients only need 1 year done. You need 5. Like, it's going to be a thing. So at that point, you just end up having to say, like, I'm sorry, this is going to take some time. I know you want to put a rush on it, but it's kind of your fault for not having done it. You get a mud rain after 3,500 Sankrits on Cuckoo was wild. But was it MLB? I legitimately don't remember. This is the problem. Playing 2 accounts, like, all of the shit blends together in my head now. They should seriously release more good OCCs. They can't. They already released the best one they possibly could. I'm not even kidding. Like, now that Mud Rain exists, there's literally no reason to ever use any other like overcharge C. The only exceptions I can think of would be somehow, some way, if you needed to overcharge on a support servant. There's a couple of other options, but that's usually not the best play anyways, because most of those craft essences are limited. Like the one that everyone really likes to use is He Who Desires Salvation. Or the one that desires salvation, whatever it is, the Amakusa one, because that gives 4 times overcharge. And even that one, if you're in a long enough fight, it expires and then it becomes useless after that point. So it's kind of a rough scenario taking an overcharge C. Usually the benefit that an overcharge C gives is immediate. And If you have a unit that cannot immediately take advantage of it, it really begins to fall off in terms of like whether or not it's good compared to another CE. You might need a different comp. It may be the case, or it may simply just be it's a long fight. Like, there are definitely fights that are kind of stallier, right? Though it is rare at this point. Just planning on saving more than one copy for any kind of event since reruns are so rare. I'm bad. I save at least 5. Unless it's like a permanent C. If it's an event C, I save all 5 copies. If it is a permanent CE, I only save usually up to like 3 MLBs of it. And that kind of depends. I did it my way. I cannot get Perfect Cell singing this out of my head. How do you have space? Second archive. And this is also why I've yet to ever be burned by a rerun. I always have my rerun Cs. There was the one time here recently where I thought I didn't, and I thought I had deleted them, and I in fact had not. And then you get a scenario like this on JP where they're suddenly like, hey, Gouda 6 rerun. And everyone's like, what? And nobody thought they were going to do this. But it works. Uh-oh. Is that MP damage resistance? Uh-oh. This could get spicy. Do reruns usually give the exact same rewards, or are there less stuff to do? Reruns are usually the exact same, but better because it's usually half price for everything. You usually get what we like to call a light version of the event. Light version does not mean less to do. Light version means that everything is cheaper. I wish AP costs were cheaper. Yeah, that's not a thing. But I kind of understand why. Hold on. Wait, does Shufu's MP heal everybody? I don't remember. No, just her. That's what I thought. I do get crit stars if I pop this, but it's not likely to stick around long anyways. I took the blows my way. I didn't miss the reruns personally that much. The reason people missed reruns was not the actual events themselves. Okay? The reason people missed reruns is complex, but it basically boils down to without reruns, there is not a whole lot to do. There is not a whole lot to discuss or reminisce about. And you lose out on free resources. So quite literally, there's a problem where now, since they stopped doing reruns as much, they needed to scale up event rewards. They needed to do more campaigns to fill the dead time. And there is a growing concern in the community about like discussion where like now I'll be honest with you guys, chat. The drama in the FGO community has been worse since reruns stopped. Why? Reddit, Twitter, content creators, they all kind of have that same recipe of when there's not a whole lot to do, they can't just find something else to do. Algorithm wants more, so they have to create more. How do they create more? They create drama. It is a very natural reaction to that. It's sort of like what is it? The devil works through idle hands, or whatever the saying is, right? So it's like it's the same sort of concept there of like if your player base is bored, if they have nothing to do, if they have nothing to talk about, drama is what's left. They turn on each other. Idle hands do the devil's work. Yeah, there you go. But like for me, what do I do during dead time? Like you guys have seen it. I literally go fucking play another game. I don't care. Like I just enjoy my dead time. I almost never see drama with FGO. I see it for all the other gacha, and I don't even play with them. It's usually because a lot of the drama in FGO is going to be localized, or people just like, for instance, myself, right? If I see some other content creator like doing something like incredibly stupid or offering up some insane opinion, I just don't engage with it. I don't feed the cycle. I basically just be like, that's the thing. Not touching that. I just look at it and go, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. I'm just going to steer clear of it. Video drama for the most part was a pin 4 and 5. Anything else that's drama is being overblown. Yes, I agree with that. Like, and I've told you guys this before. It's like, if you guys see me raising a big stink about something, and I don't mean like me sitting here being like, hey, you know, like people are way too like down on Sakamoto Ryoma and like kind of like giving a lecture. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if I'm actually upset, if I'm actually saying, hey, y'all should be upset about this. Hey, y'all should actually like be kind of up in arms. It's very rare that I do this. But if I'm saying that, it means it is a big thing. Like, I've tried to tell this to people before, but there are hills that are worthy of dying on. There's not a lot of them, but when we encounter them, it is kind of important to actually like state that and get out there and make a bigger stink about it. And this is really funny because I see people raise big stinks about things that just are absolutely inconsequential. They don't matter. They're not a big deal. And then I've also watched on the flip side when something big, like, for instance, the 4th and the 5th pen happens, I've seen people try to be like, what's the big deal? Who cares? And it's like, oh my God, don't try to downplay that. That is actually a big thing. Like, the way that was handled was atrocious. So, yeah, there's certain things where it's worthy of getting upset about and making your voice heard somewhat. There's others, it's just not, right? Like, the example, one of my classic examples for scenarios like this is like when it's not actually important. Y'all remember the drama over Demia's skin color on NA? That was not worth at all. A hill Kadroth will die on is defending Lartaria Final Ascension versus her Armored One. I will. because so all right, so don't take this the wrong way, anyone in chat, if you agree with this opinion. However, as somebody that's a huge fan of Lartoria, love her, right? Like, she is literally the more mature, more adult Artoria. It's stated that is literally why she has tits. Okay. I have seen people that are like, I don't like her third ascension. I don't like her final ascension. There's too much boobs. It's too fan servicey. I like the first form with the armor. Do you know what I hear when I hear that? I hear me complaining about Genshin Impact. What do I mean? Chat, I can complain about Genshin Impact all I want. I don't fucking play it. So why should anyone listen to my opinion on Genshin Impact? Like, it's one thing when y'all are like here with me and we're having a discussion. It's another thing if like I go out on Twitter and I expect people to listen to my opinion on Genshin Impact, right? It's like, I don't play it. Nobody should listen to my opinion on it. It's the same thing here. I really don't want to hear from people who aren't actually fans of Lartoria as to what the best ascension of Lartoria is. That's the truth of the matter. It's like, that is one of the fastest ways to tell me you're not actually a fan of that character. And it's like, if you're not actually a fan of that character, I don't give two shits what you think about that character. Right? Like, it's plain and simple the easiest way to understand this. It would be like me sitting there and being like, no, chat. Space Ishtar is actually ugly in her third ascension. I really prefer her first ascension. Like, I don't know why anyone would listen to me on that. I'm clearly not a Rin fan, right? I feel like there are quite a few units that their best ascensions being the first one, like BB Dubai. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm gonna say this: people have a right to their own opinions. They have a right to their own takes and like which one they feel is the best. But I've literally seen people like actively complain, actively like campaign to basically say like, oh yeah, we should get a better form of Lartoria. Oh yeah, like Lartoria is like way over fan servicey and stuff like that. When I see shit like that, it just pisses me the fuck off. I'm gonna be honest. And you know, to the same degree, it's the same thing as people sitting there saying that like Lartoria is somehow the worst SSR. I'm like, tell me how. Like, let me know that you didn't use the unit without letting me know that you didn't use the unit. That's easily one of the best indicators right there. I love Tiamat's first ascension personally. She looks like little ballerina. I'm not a huge fan of the first two ascensions for her, but I do at least like her personality in them, if that makes any sense. Like, they didn't go like super like lolly with her or anything like that. Isn't FGO mainly about fan service anyways, like in a broader sense? Yeah, 100%. And it's well, chat, it's based off a visual novel, which is fan service, which was originally an NSFW visual novel, which was absolutely fan service. So like, imagine liking literally anything anime and complaining about fan service. And it's like, I mean, you can do that. Enjoy not ever having any sort of fun or enjoyment in anime, though. Can someone fan service? Yeah. Wonders the sex scenes. It's really funny because some of the same people that would sit there and be like, I don't know, like they'll be like some of the most toxic motherfuckers out there, and they'll be like telling you that like, oh, you're not allowed to like this, you're not allowed to have this content, you're not allowed to blah 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 blah. And they're also the same people that are like, you're not allowed to have fan service. They're literally like puritanical, and it's really really weird. I don't think it's a hot take. So I literally read your line there and said, I don't think it's a hot take to say the Camelot movie. And I was like, oh God, what is this second? Like you had me in the first half. Whereas like, is he about to like shit on the Camelot movie? Because that's another one. I'm so used to people shitting on the Camelot movie. And the Camelot movie's fine. It's great. It definitely like the valid criticism that everyone has for the Camelot movies that they cut out some of the comedic stuff, which they also did with Babylonia. I still disagree with them cutting it from both of those. I don't know why they did it. Camelot movie 1 is bad, no Arash Express. Missing a singular scene does not make an entire movie bad. Just the truth. No, we're not talking about the Andre Dark Elf. That's basically Larry's face. No, I know. That's why I was like, it was actually unexpected. I did not expect you to actually like be praising Camelot movie. You're legitimately one of the first people that I've seen besides myself that has a positive opinion of like the Camelot movie. Here's my Sky High Rider Justice Buster Bomb. Indeed. I was not a fan of the animation in the first movie, though. I didn't think it was really any different. I mean, I know they changed some stuff, but I didn't have an issue with it. Camelot movie had to fit 20 hours of content into 4 hours. Cuts are inevitable. Yeah. Yeah, I think like criticizing pacing, criticizing things being left out are all valid complaints, but I don't know that it necessarily makes the movie bad, right? No, this is pretty good at comedy too, so leaving it out, it's always weird. Yeah, I'm not sure why they chose to do that sort of thing. But granted, I'll say this. In that regard, I do think like Camelot got done dirty getting turned into only a movie. Like I'm happy it got an anime adaptation, but I wish it had been a full-blown series on its own. Yeah, only 11 more missions left. I don't even know what these are. Are these just the additional copies of Ranmaru? I haven't even been paying attention. I watched the Babylonia anime and it made me download FGO. See, that's wild, because like you're one of the first people that I've really heard of that did that. Not saying it doesn't happen, just that like my understanding was Babylonia was popular amongst the FGO fandom, but not so much outside of it. Which if it did, good. Like that's one of those things where I think FGO in general could do a much better job. But let's see the LBs adapted. Yeah. I mean, I'll say this. I don't really blame them for not wanting to adapt Lost Belt until like we're all the way done with part 2. but I actually think like FGO misses a huge potential like dip if they actually just turn it into an anime. Because what that allows them to do, it's the same thing they've been trying to do with the drama logs, right? Where they've been trying to get people to actively like watch or at least find some way of like getting a TLDR of the story, because they know it's difficult to make people read everything that's in the game. So in that regard, I think that's why you have things like the drama logs. They're meant as a bit of a summary. They're meant to remind you and give you you know, sort of a rehash, but also meant to fill in people that just skipped it outright. And so in that regard, I feel like it's like, yeah, if you do an anime, you literally give them that. You give them it's admittedly very high budget, but you give them a way of being able to have the story, but it's also like preserved for you. So it's really, really nice in that regard. Hmm. I'm not going to need multiple here because the dodge will die and the guts will be the only thing that's alive. So, okay, so this is really funny. Does anyone know why King Hassan like basically didn't kill Gawain? Like he absolutely would have won against Gawain, but didn't kill him. Not enough NP refund on Buster. Yeah, that's why. He did it for the meme. He didn't deem it necessary. Yeah, I think in fighting Gawain, he realized that Gawain actually had honor and wasn't somebody that was worthy of being, like, killed. Like, he knew that Gawain was inherently a good person caught in a bad situation. Is Shisho stronger than Ku in lore? Kind of. She's both his teacher and literally like somebody that killed a god. So in that regard, she is well established to be so. So much to the point that again, like her major motif and trope is that like she can't die even though she wants to. His actual purpose in Babylonia? No, I don't like. I'm not going to say that like Camelot and Babylonia aren't linked, but I think it had nothing to do with that. The cursed with immortality trope. Yep. Gotta love question mark notes. I mean, yeah, that sort of thing, like Ku Alter and like various other versions of Ku. Like, I don't know, you're starting to get into like some crazy stuff there. Oh, he's gonna brutally murder himself, isn't he, chat? Or can you summon her even if she was alive? Don't know. Did Merlin die? No. So, like, therein lies the issue. I think it's implied that Shisho did. That somewhere in some sort of eventuality, simply because, like, humanity would have ceased to exist had it gone on, that effectively terminated her, since she would simply cease to exist. But, yeah, I don't know, right? Because it's like, at that point, obviously in our timeline, we haven't been pruned yet. But it could also just simply be a case of kind of like Emiya, where you're maybe summoning a future variant or something like that. Or a what if scenario from another alternate timeline. Is Musashi alive? Good question. I just accept it and move on. Yeah. It's difficult even for us because it's just not inherently like as straightforward as we would like it to be even. Oh great, I get to do this again. Couldn't remember if that Nobu was gonna suicide or not. I'm gonna do the Castorian P just to get more power here. Schrodinger's Musashi, pretty much. Like, but any Nasus versus logic, we shouldn't be able to summon Lost Belt servants, and yet we still do just because. I think it's because, like, once we've encountered them, like, it's almost like now the throne recognizes them as having existed again. Because of Avalon rule breaking, yeah, Star. We literally just saw Nasu bullshit his way into making beast summonable. Right. Yeah, he, like, Nasu himself is the rule breaker. And, like, it's fine. I don't have a, like, big issue with it. However, there's definite times where I wish that he would maintain a little bit more consistency, because it causes a lot of confusion when he doesn't. You know what? I don't have to do this, chat, but I want to. I know, but we'll get away with Reigns instead of Oberon, since I don't need Oberon. We can summon them because people spent money on them. I mean, I think in, like, Nasu's head it makes sense, and that's why he does a whole bunch of what he does. Well, this is gonna be awkward. I don't know if she'll kill without the mana burst. Have the devs addressed this? Yeah, they've addressed why literally every single Greek god is not summonable. Which is, frankly speaking, a load of bullshit and one that they're very likely to break at some point. So much to the point that they literally sat down, they asked people in a poll, what would you like to see summonable from all of the NPCs in one of their surveys, and the Greek gods were included in that. Because I remember I put Demeter in there. I was like, hell yeah, give it to me. So I can spare this. Wait, what's their reasoning? Twofold. One, the version that's actually in the Lost Belts are actually machines. And two, the whole god in a normal saint graph excuse. To say you can kill her, it's not gonna do anything. You know what? Let's put that on her just to be safe. Chat, who even needs a single target, right? This is the other issue. When you have such strong AoEs, and now we've had to buff a bunch of the other Lancers to be as strong as Mel. Who needs the single target now? Although we summoned gods, yeah. Though technically we've summoned quote-unquote lesser gods. And quote-unquote Artemis doesn't count. But I also think that Artemis is quite literally the example of like, yeah, you're full of shit, Nasu. How likely do you think it'd be if they let us carry all of our servants into it? So, extremely unlikely. For a couple of reasons. So, if you were going to do FGO 2, chat, do you want all of your units to carry over? Yes, so I don't have to roll? Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so like, logically every single one of you want all of your servants to roll over, right? That's you thinking as the player. So how likely is that to occur? Stop thinking like a player. How does the dev think? You guys need to picture the developer as Mr. Krabs. He is literally going to be like, Money, Squidward. And that's going to be the entire reason behind it. I'm going to be honest with you. Could they carry it over? Yes. Yes, they could. Here's the thing, chat. So let's imagine FGO 2. First of all, let's humor this idea of we're going to carry over every stinking unit and we are going to have a completely different game. So, your first question is, does the new game type even work? Like, is it actually something that you could transfer over? Would it be similar enough in structure to allow for it? I mean, frankly speaking, maybe. Because even all the modern gacha games seemingly find ways to have room for multiple copies and skills. It's just the way they all work nowadays, because they've all realized that this system works really well for older gacha games. So it's possible that there's no issue there. Your second issue then is going to be, how do we actually do it? How are you going to transfer it over, chat? You're going to hit the save button? You're going to export? Is there going to be an importer in the second game? Shit. So, I mean, yeah, like they could maybe do it some way with like account linking through a website. That'd probably be the best way to do it. That's still going to require a lot of work on their end. They just renamed the app. I mean, you joke, Zev. I wouldn't even like be surprised to see that sort of thing happen. I would not at all be surprised if, quote, FGO ends, aka the Grand Order ends with part 2, and now part 3 is a completely different arc with a completely different name, and so they just renamed the app. It would not surprise me in the slightest if they did that. It'd be like, I don't know, Fate Sealed Designation Enforcer. Fate New Order, yeah. Same picture, though? Yeah, probably. They don't have the manpower for that kind of thing? Well, they could. They could in the theory that if they're coming out with a second game, it might imply that they have a second staff. And that would actually be one of the possible explanations for why the devs seem so strained. They have people flexing between the two staffs. They are splitting how many people are working on each project. Maybe we're not running with a full FGO dev staff all the time. So that sort of thing is possible. I think your next question is, okay, so now let's assume that it can be done. How do they? Chat, what do y'all want an FGO 2 to be? Like start thinking about the style of game. Start thinking about like what sort of upgrades you would like to see in a second iteration. And when you start to think about that, start to think about just how much effort they would have to do. Like, we don't even have to say it's like a MiHoYo clone, right? But let's just assume for right now that all of a sudden a Switch gets made to a 3D style. how much work you want to do converting all 400 units to a 3D style. They have assets from arcade. They do. However, chat. I'm going to be honest with you. Some of the assets look okay. Some of them do not. This is not a slight against Erish, by the way, chat. However, if there's one thing I've noticed, and let me see if I can find you guys a better picture. God, I ain't finding shit. There's just so little available, like, footage of arcade. Feels like it's PS2 era? Yeah. So I can't find what I wanted to show, but it was a picture of Erish in her my room in her normal outfit. Sorry, not a picture, a video, right? And it was just her going through the bond room lines. And, you know, they move, they look nice, they're all animated. In Erish's case, though, it looks really fucking bad. And the reason why is because Erish has really long hair. And frankly speaking, the arcade devs absolutely kind of phoned it in with regards to these designs. Let me explain. Arcade doesn't want a fully rendered, perfect 3D model. Why? Because it's an arcade game. They literally want something that performs well in their engine. So they did enough to make it look good, but they didn't go all out with it. So, okay, let's re-examine that claim then. They can use arcade assets. No, they can't. They literally cannot. These assets are unique to arcade. They are extremely dumbed down compared to what the modern audience would expect it to be, right? And I'm going to say this, as much as I like some of the arcade designs, as much as it really does look nice to see one of your characters in 3D, Genshin blows these out of the water. And that's just frankly speaking. The only reason that Genshin wouldn't just be an immediate win is because, frankly speaking, the FGO designs are just outright better. But I think that is the way it is. It's just in terms of quality, the actual like Genshin sprites and sorry, not sprites, the actual Genshin models would be better. But in terms of design, you know, I'm biased, but I would prefer the FGO designs. So at the end of the day, yeah, no, I don't think this would be held up to snuff. In fact, I think this would literally get us dogged by all the other modern gachas now. If like FGO 2 came out and it was these level of graphics, the FGO community would be like, oh man, this looks good. Everybody else would be like, that looks like shit. Like they would just be sitting there trying to shit on it. So designing for 2D and 3D makes a huge difference too. Yeah. So it's like, don't get me wrong. I do think to some degree you can take what you've learned from arcade with regards to making a 3D model for a newer game, and it would help. But you can't just be like, hey, I can just take the arcade model. It would not work. Like, or better yet, chat, you guys remember how we had sprite updates in the game? Y'all remember Big Head Waver and Big Head Arash? That, like, this would literally be the equivalent. Like, you would get FGO 2 with this, and then they would have to go back through one by one and start updating the actual sprites. Need pics or it didn't happen. God damn it, chat. Fandom got rid of it. Or did it? Hold on. Control. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Here it is, chat. Okay. Okay. Where is it? All right, chat. Here is a rash. Okay. There's a rash, right? Looks good. Here is also a rash. Little different. Little different. Change him back? What do you mean? Chat want to see Big Head Waver? So like this is literally the equivalent of what you would be doing with an FGO2 if you did that. If you pulled in the arcade designs, could it work? Sure, I guess. You would literally need to start doing model updates, which by the way, I'm gonna be real with y'all, chat. Making the model from scratch versus converting like one of these arcade models into it, it would be cheaper to just make the model from scratch. And I'm going to say this, I guarantee you they would. They would not reuse the asset. They would literally just make it from scratch because it would be faster. So, yeah, I think when you look at something like that and you ask yourself, like, is it actually possible to do it? Yes. Will they? No. I think that sort of thing's really, really rough for them. Now, could they? Yeah, I mean, like, to a degree, I think games like Genshin Impact, games like Wuwa, and various other 3D games, if you've noticed, there's a common trend with them. They have small rosters. They have really slow unit release schedules. Why? Has anyone ever asked that question? Why do they usually have like slower release schedules? Oh god, I unlocked the CQ? don't want to do that tonight. Harder to make characters. There's definitely some idea behind the harder to make characters. But is it? Takes time to design them and create their skills. Yeah, I think there's probably two things that take the longest with creating a new 3D character. Your first is going to be the actual design. I'm not talking about sculpting the model. I'm not talking about coming up with the outfit. You can have an artist sit down and hammer that out pretty fast, actually, in both those cases. So both a concept artist and a 3D modeler, that's actually not going to take that long. What do I mean when I say design, then? Who is this character? What's their name? What's their lore? How do they fit into the game? Who do they have relationships with? How are they involved in the story? That takes a lot of time, a lot of planning, and a lot of prep. In the meantime, you're also working on the art side. So there is a really big front end to it. The front end is actually not in the model design. Number 2, someone in chat already said it. You can get away with some reused animations, but only so much. And every time you do a new set of animations, guess what, chat? Get in that mocap room. You got to do it again. That's expensive. That's a lot of time. And you got to make sure it's all perfect. So, can you do it? Yes. Can you do it faster than any of these others can? 100%. Because number 1 is not an issue for FGO at all. Why? 2 things. FGO literally already has a stable of 400 plus characters. 2, even if we're talking a new character, you're already operating usually off of an existing historical person, which means it's actually pretty easy to figure out how they fit into things for FGO. It's actually one of like Fate's biggest strengths when it comes to like gacha games. Is I actually don't think it takes them too long to come up with the why and the how, and instead they spend longer on the actual design because they can. So I think they actually sit there and they just go like, yeah, we want this character to have this unique aspect. And that's why like the designs of the FGO characters usually just shine through so well. I think they know. So they could do it. However, I'm going to be honest with you guys. Do you think that day 1 you would get 400 plus characters in FGO? No. No, you wouldn't. $50 would be generous? Probably. Hellfire, thank you for the 43. Appreciate it, my dude. You're funny, yeah. I don't even think there's a guarantee they do all of them. I think they could, okay? Because like I said, I think the actual implementation would be a lot faster for FGO compared to one of the other modern games. But, if we're examining this from the standpoint of, I want my account to carry over, how does that work then, chat? How would you do that? Think like a dev, don't think like a player. I wouldn't. All right, but your bosses demanded that you had to. Todd Howard walked up and said, if you don't do this, I won't be able to go out in my leather jacket and give an interview to seduce millions into buying the next iteration of this game. So you have to do this. I would use AI. Oh, I wouldn't use AI. They'd have to pre-produce all the units beforehand. I don't know that they'd have to pre-produce all units beforehand, but it was popular first and then moved down the list. Nope. That won't work either. How would that work? All right. Step number 1. Announce your game. Hey guys, it's La Single here, and I'm here to tell you that FGO 2 is going to be a thing. Step number 2. Announce. Again. But this time you're going to announce that all 400 units plus will be in the game eventually. Step number 3. Announce that you have account linking. Therefore, everything you wail for in FGO 1 will be transferred over. This is... You know how everybody in chat was saying there's a 0% chance of this happening? This is the highest percentage. This right here that I'm proposing is the highest percentage possibility. Here's why. They do it this way. Serves 2 purposes. 1, it lets you know that quite literally your favorites will be there in the new game, and you are able to, you know, eventually get them. Maybe not right off the bat, because they don't come out with everything eventually. Or sorry, they don't come out with everything like immediately, but eventually you get it. Okay? So this not only shackles you to the game, which is exactly what the developer wants, but it also creates consumer confidence in your product. And it has the added benefit of not sabotaging your game that is currently ongoing. That's why that has the highest chance of occurring. Any announcement for an FGO 2 kills FGO immediately. Kills it dead. It's like the second FGO 2 is revealed, FGO 2 walks out from behind the curtain with a shotgun and pulls the trigger on FGO. The second they do that, unless they make an announcement like that. The only way. It literally just happened to Smite. Yup. If you're a smart dev, you do things that way. You don't do things the other way, because the other way kills your currently running game. It's the astronaut meme. Yeah. And I'm not going to say that they're going to do that, right? Like, I'm not saying this has any realistic chance of happening. I'm saying out of the slim margins of this happening, this has probably the highest chance of occurring. Because it's really difficult to not shoot your old game in the foot and announce a new game without promising that you will honor in some way, shape, or form everything that happened in the old game. Right? I don't think the single is capable of creating a good-looking game. I don't know about that. For Girls Online too. Yeah, I think, like, I'm not even going to try to, like, guess as to, like, what style of game they would go for or anything like that. And all of this is still just in the realm of supposition. Okay? Here's the thing I'm going to say about this chat. And I really do mean this. It is so much easier to find good 2D artists, good live 2D animators, good 3D artists, good 3D animators. It is so much easier to find all of them than it is to find people that specialize in sprite work. They're not explicitly different disciplines, but sprite work does take a little bit of extra know-how compared to much more commonly used things like those other ones that I mentioned. Right? That would make coding easier for the devs, more profitable? No, I think they're on Unity, and they're pretty up to date. I don't think that's the issue. I think when we've looked at things before, and we've kind of known this for a while, their major bottlenecks appear to be the animation staff more than anything. And then just in general, like Nasu himself. Which I think that's probably your biggest issue headed towards any sort of potential new game would be Nasu. Oh, wait, no, I wanted that. I actually wanted that screen, damn it. Okay, let me quickly grab these here. Daddy needs new missions. Mission 50. Defeat 10 Rider class servants. Oh, sweet. 52. Caster class servants. 55. Assassin class servants. 57. Berserker class servants. What's 92? Clear quest with Ronmaru in the party. God damn it. Oh, I gotta clear 20 quests. Okay, so Ronmaru needs to sit in my back line. Yeah, that's literally it. It's just go clear these extra nodes and have Ronmaru in my back line. So it's Rider, Caster, and Assassin are the ones I need. Let's see, is there any way that I can get more bang for my buck here? I do need one more clear of a Berserker node, but... Okay, so that's a gold node. We can skip this now, no? Listen. I've tried to skip it for you several times in a row. But there's only so much skipping I can do. Um... I need Ronmaru in the party. Bye, Kashin Koji. Can someone explain why this is Avalon's favorite node? I don't think favorite's a good term for it. You think they'll include Lilum Harlot? Maybe. It's significant enough to include. Thoughts on music choice? Sounds like something I would hear in the background of a medieval game. Got a feeling they won't start part 3 right after part 2. They will absolutely start it right after. However, it will very likely be just the intro. That's essentially how they'll do it. It made it different from many scenes. I still thought it was good. We need some new ones on JP. I already told you guys. I already made this prediction. They're literally just going to give you a huge swath of them. Like, I don't even think that's a far-fetched prediction. I think you will get a quote-unquote Bleached Earth campaign, and it will probably occur prior to the ending, sometime like after Anniversary. Think they'll do a stall chapter? No, I think they'll do the intro. And the reason I think they'll do that, I know this is going to make me sound like a hypocrite, but it is the pattern that Nasu always does. And the only time that pattern was bucked is when LB7 literally itself was delayed. Listen, we can always put on more Britney Spears, Jay. No, that's not the one I want to take. Max got the damage C on. Not that that's bad, but like just no damage, no actual drop bonus. That doesn't bother me. The cold never bothered you anyways. That's if Nasu's even the one handling part 3. That's a good point. You know, we don't really know how much Nasu will be involved in a potential part 3. I'm gonna say this. If Nasu's not involved in part 3, I'm not very optimistic about the future of the game. I do think he will be, though. I think he waffles back and forth as to like his desire to continue, but I think he kind of knows it's what's best. And the thing that I trust more than anything is, regardless of Nasu's desire to move on, Nasu seemingly is a control freak that really just has to have his hand in every bit of stuff. So I don't think he can give that away. I think he literally hasn't done it now for almost 20 years. I don't see him starting to do it now. Bunch of lords and stuff forward, you'll call it an A, yeah. Can or can't see him letting his baby go? Because I can't. Like, I think that's his, like, as we look back, right? Why didn't FGO get a English adaptation for years? Sorry, not FGO. Well, I guess you could say FGO too, but why didn't Fate, right? Like, why didn't Fate Stay Night get an English adaptation for years? Because Nasu. Because Nasu didn't trust anyone to translate it. That's the issue, right? Like, Nasu had to make sure it was perfect, and he wasn't going to let anybody else touch it. So it's just one of those deals where it's like when you look at how someone like that acts and you see that he's done this even in FGO time and time again, where like, for instance, chat, y'all remember the Valentine's event with Karen? He literally commented that he was off writing Tsukihime, but came back to write Karen in that event because he had to write Karen. He couldn't let anyone else write Karen. So it's like, again, he's leaving this trail, this pattern of he just always has to handle certain things himself. People die when they're killed? That's true. People do die when they're killed. Very hard to complete shop. Is it mostly some mats I don't need and statues? Is it better to start saving blue apples for Lotto instead? That's up to you. I mean, you still got time. Still plenty of time left in the event. My advice is just do the best you can at the moment. If you're asking, like, should you, instead of getting the stuff at a shop, should you start making blue apples for the Lotto? No. No, you shouldn't. Like, I wouldn't use your normal apples, but I wouldn't also just willfully neglect the current event to make blue apples for the Lotto. It's like how Dantes always appears in certain stories as a specific writer. Yeah. Oh, it is absolutely that, JC. It's absolutely that he wants control over certain things. But that's where it's like, will Nasu be involved in part 3? I would almost say with 100% certainty the answer to that is yes. It's like, I'm aware he probably wants out to some degree, but he has shackled himself to it. It's his own damn fault. Oh my god. Game now. There. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. God, it's gonna suck. I have to do 20 more of these missions. I should have realized that I needed to put Ranma in the back line. I literally just forgot. I think he'll be involved. The question will be how much. Yeah, I do agree with that. I think that is just in general what it is. All right, chat, let's talk download campaign. Oh my god. Oh, that's such good bait. I hadn't looked at the banner. Wait. Mm. Yeah. We did not get a refresh on crystallized lores. That's so weird. I get it. I understand why, but that is just really odd. I had to double check that myself because I was like, wait, is that really a thing? This is so evil. Did they list it under game updates? Did they forget? They didn't. They didn't include it. Fandom's missing something. Wow. Okay. Oh, that. Yeah, it's kind of important. Okay. Chat, I'm going to record this one if you don't mind. In all fairness, who cares though? I do. Don't worry, I'll explain why. Do they have a set minimum amount? No. Oh boy, I sure wish CAD used my background cries. What do you mean? What do you want? What do you want me to use? The one that says on air? No, it looks terrible. Just to make it clear, the red numbers on the right are the days it took from the last. Yeah. I'll explain that because I know not everyone will get that. Okay. Okay, so today on JP, we found out that we got the 31 million downloads campaign. This actually came as somewhat of a surprise because it wasn't really telegraphed by the devs in any way, and we ended up with having maintenance right in the middle of the Gouda 6 rerun. This actually coincided immediately with the end of the 75% off strengthenings for everyone. So the second that expired and we went down for maintenance, ended up coming on the back end of this, the 31 million downloads campaign. So this one caught us a little at unawares, but now in retrospect, we actually should have seen it coming a little bit. And the reason why is because usually we go about somewhere in the realm of 3 to 4 months between our download campaigns, usually. What threw us for a loop was the prior download campaign, the 30 million download campaign, actually took about 308 days to appear from the prior download campaign that we had. That is to say, the devs kind of stalled that one out and sat on it for a long time, obviously because it was a big one and they wanted to really celebrate that one, but they definitely kind of got off pace for how they normally are. This one is pretty much in line with the amount of time that we spent waiting for other download campaigns. So a little bit, we maybe should have predicted this happening, but I mean, who can blame us at this point? Because we all just kind of assumed that devs were not going to function at the same speed that they had been. But it is a good sign. This does mean that the game has hit its 31 million download marker. It's hit it kind of on schedule, as it is. And in that regard, we're also getting a really nice set of, campaigns and banners from this. This is really, really nice what they've done here. I'm going to walk you guys through it and everything you guys need to know about it. So obviously right off the bat, we are going to be getting a login bonus campaign here. This is actually one of like 3 other login bonus campaigns that are currently active at the time. So it's really interesting to see that they gave us yet another one on JP. I think a lot of this is just kind of to ramp things up, get us prepared for Ordeal Call 4 that's probably happening at the end of April, which, given the actual expiration of this download campaign being on the 30th, that's the same day as the upcoming JP live stream will be. So we can pretty much just go ahead and assume that literally on the 30th will be when we will get Ordeal Call 4. So in that regard, I don't think that sort of thing is that crazy. I think we kind of already know that to this degree. But as we look forward here, we're now also going to see that we get campaign daily missions on top of it. And these are pretty much just par for the course. It's everything that you guys would normally expect from this sort of thing. Just your standard like teapots, gold foes, faux paw prints, and mana prisms. Definitely nice to have these. It's just going to require you guys to actually clear the daily missions that are available. Now, on top of that, and this is probably the big ticket item that you guys are going to see in the 31 million downloads campaign. For story completion, there are now a new permanent set of master missions. So again, a new milestone, if you will, being added to the game for clearing story chapters. This includes everything from part 1 all the way down through the Epic of Remnants and even into Lost Belt and Ordeal Call itself. So literally everything currently released is here, including your 6.5 with Trom and 5.5 with Heian Kyo. So if you complete all of these story chapters, everything up to current, you will get 25 crystallized lores and 25 grails given to you. So some of us were lucky enough on the just login to be able to immediately walk right in and get 25 grails just thrown right to our face. So this is a huge influx of grails all of a sudden. Obviously, we have things like grail casting nowadays that really help out a player's ability to get grails and be able to grail units into the higher levels. But getting a sudden influx like this is not something that happens every day. It is definitely well received in that regard. I know some people are obviously going to have some issues with finding people to Grail, but I think the reason they wanted to do something like this, yeah, obviously this helps prepare for things like Ordeal Call 4, but this also probably is to set the stage for the grand system coming in later, since we know that, level 100 and 10 10 10 skills are a requirement to make a unit a grand. So them giving you out 25 grails right there is enough to cover at least 5 of those units, assuming they're SSRs. If not, if it's like an SR, obviously it's going to be a little bit more and stuff. But I think the idea behind this was, hey, we don't have to give you every grail that you could possibly need, but let's give them a nice influx so that they actually have enough to be able to cover immediate needs for the grail or the grand system. So in that regard, I love this change. I think it's great. And this does also kind of set a precedent for as we move forward into the game, as we get Ordeal Call 4 and maybe into a part 3 and stuff like that, we might see even more of these get added. So we'll now start to have milestones for crystallized lores regularly and grails regularly. So that will actually be an interesting way of handling things. We also got a DaVinci Workshop Mana Prism Exchange update. Same thing with the Rare Prism Exchange update. This is basically just going to sort of double everything that's in the shop that you could possibly want to buy. So if you already bought the monthly allotments from the Mana Prism and Rare Prism shops, you'll now have a second copy that's available for you to purchase again due to the download campaign specifically. So you'll have 2 sets to be able to buy for this specific duration of this download campaign. The only missing item here is apparently we didn't get a crystallized lore refresh in the Rare Prism shop, which kind of makes sense since they just gave you 25 for free potentially. So I think they were like, yeah, hey, we don't have to refresh specifically that one. So in that regard, I'm A-okay with it, and I do think this is nice, but this is also something that they normally do with every download campaign. After that, we actually got even more craft essences added back to the DaVinci Workshop. These are the Recollect essences. These are sort of the devs' way of bringing back old event Cs and things that you might really want to get your hands on, but didn't have the means to do so because you weren't playing the game at the time, or you maybe just didn't complete the event somehow. So this is their way of bringing some of those old Cs back, especially the ones that people really want. There are some really, really nice ones here, particularly Traces of Christmas are, again, like really nice quick CE here. It's got all attack scaling. It's got quick up, NP gain up, and starting charge. Definitely nice if you have a quick unit that's like maybe right on the cusp of being able to like loop cleanly or get to a certain percentage of refund. This can help shore things up. Maybe you got a node that's got like berserkers in it instead of the actual effective class. This is where something like Traces of Christmas is going to help you out. The other really, really good one that I highly recommend here is Heavenly Demon Princess. This one is just always been a solid one. It has gotten outclassed a little bit by things like Ocean Flyer, but it's also all attack scaling, NP damage up, critical damage up for arts cards specifically, and 50% starting charge if you have it MLB. The only downside to getting these craft essences is going to be that this will cost you some mana prisms, and as you guys know, mana prisms are kind of tight at this point if you're not somebody that hasn't been around for a long time doing a lot of lottos and stuff like that. With that in mind, NA will have an upcoming lotto here soon, so go check out my lotto guide. But besides that, yeah, I think on JP, obviously we now have a couple of other sources of mana prisms, particularly rolling in the gacha, but same sort of deal. It's like if you're not whaling or something like that, you're not going to expect to get too much out of that. So there's a lot of stuff you can buy with mana prisms now. It's getting increasingly more difficult for how to manage those mana prisms. It is actually why, not to plug myself again, but it is why I put out a mana prism shop guide as well for you guys here fairly recently. And
And so as a result, like there are some good things here, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend trying to buy every single one of the craft essences. I think it's just usually better to fixate on one or two of them, get the ones that you actually need for your account, and then you can kind of like rest on some of the others and say, hey, I don't have to grab them. We also got an update to the DaVinci command codes. So this is going to be basically command codes that you guys can buy. They're older command codes that have appeared in prior events. There are a lot here. There's a lot of good stuff in this, but it is going to get a little bit costly, both in terms of mana prisms and rare prisms. There are also 5 different ones that you guys actually cannot get a duplicate for. So be very careful about that. But again, it probably just won't even allow you guys if you do try to go pick them up. So again, there's a lot of really, really good command codes here. I'm going to let you guys kind of choose on some of those. Obviously, I really like certain ones like, for instance, the Gilgamesh AO one, the Merlin one's really, really strong on the right unit. And same thing with like the Nero Bride one for healing or the Tamamo one. Each one of them can be really, really solid, but if you don't already have them, it's a great addition to your account. If you already have them, like we mentioned, you're not going to be able to double it up. That being said, that's not the only thing that they did here with command codes. This is something that I noticed, I don't know why, but fandom just didn't have it in their list of things here. But we actually got an update to the storage capacity for command codes, and it is not an insignificant update. We got 400 extra slots for command code storage. This really helps things out. I know a lot of people will sort of scale their command code storage to kind of the amount that they're, or not scale the storage, but they'll scale how many command codes they're collecting to the amount of the storage that they have. You can do stuff like that, but ultimately, you only need so many of the 1 and 2 star variants. But this will help. This will make it so that you guys can actually put way more command codes on way more characters. And I think that's what the devs were realizing. This is actually something I've criticized in the past, where because the command code storage was so small, and because when you put a command code on a unit, it does not leave your storage, it still takes up space. There were only so many units you could put command codes on anyways. Now, as the game has gone on and we've gotten more and more and more command codes, obviously we're getting more demand for that, but we're not necessarily having more space. And even then, it would still be nice to occasionally just have 1-star command codes on a bunch of your units that you feel like you're using frequently. Having 900 spots is really going to help with that. Obviously, you're not going to be able to fill out every single unit in the game with a storage amount like this, but giving us 400 extra slots, almost doubling the amount that we have available to store, is really a sign that I think the devs are beginning to realize, hey, yeah, maybe we should up that because people actually would like to use these. And one of the biggest kind of issues with it is that there's just not a lot of room in order to be able to store a lot of them, since they take up so much space. So this is a really, really nice update. It's also just going to be peace of mind for people that, have a ton of command codes. It's just more breathing room for you. So I really do like this. It's a really, really just small thing, but also a really nice quality of life in what they've done here. So definitely a good upgrade. And then on top of that, we actually have a couple of other campaigns here from the download campaign that they've given us. This is going to include half-cost Ember Gathering for every single class version, open for all days. So this means that every single iteration of Ember Gathering that you guys can think of, it will be there, and it will be half AP during that time. You're also going to have servants and craft essences getting a 2 times great and super success rate. This is pretty standard for our download campaigns. And, Lady Avalon, if basically used as an NPC support servant for Ember Gathering, will gain additional experience and QP for a limited time. Did I just fuck that up? Hold on. Servant experiencing QP for a limited time. No, that's just extra FP, isn't it? Yeah, that's a fandom error. God damn it, fandom. And Lady Avalon, whenever you use her as an NPC servant for Ember Gathering, will get you just a little bit of an extra FP boost for you guys during this time period, since she is our banner servant, basically, for the 3 million downloads campaign. In this time, we also got a really interesting game update with the My Room gallery that you guys have. So obviously, you guys have the ability to, kind of go through and look now to be able to see like all of your old sort of event CGs and things from old events, old story chapters, you name it. And it's really, really nice that you can kind of go back and view them. This was, ironically enough, something that like us as content creators tried to use all the time, but we actually had to go to like sites like Atlas to grab because there was no real easy way to go back and get them. Now we actually have an entire menu for that sort of thing. So it'd be really, really nice. I'd like to see them also sort of allow it to be like a background in the My Room. I feel like that'd be really cool and go a long way. But let me know what you guys think about that update and whether or not you think it'd be a really, really cool thing for them to do. They've also managed to allow another sort of shortcut for you guys to be able to switch from your sort of servant screen, your data screen where you can see their bond and everything like that, straight to their Ascension screen. We already had the capacity to get into the enhancement screen where you could level the character up. Now you have the ability to jump right to the Ascension screen so that you can immediately ascend them to the next thing. So this is not going to be a huge deal, but it will at least help out. It's just another small quality of life, kind of making the menus a little bit easier to navigate so you don't have to go all the way out and then all the way back into everything. So I do like that they've done this. And then last but not least, we will have a banner for Proto Merlin appearing here, aka Lady Avalon, her alongside Gareth Saber. I would have really liked to have seen Gareth Saber get a actual like update with this. Who knows, maybe we post this video tomorrow and they've managed to do just that. But I would really like to see Gareth Summer get some love because she absolutely could use it. On top of this, the other thing to note is that there is a really nice craft essence alongside this banner, and that's going to be Winds of Spring. This is from Lady Avalon's original banner in summer, but this one's really, really good. It's all attack scaling. It's invuln pierce, arts up of 10% at MLB, and NP damage up of 20% at MLB. So it's a really, really good, like 0% starting charge craft essence that can be useful down the stretch in a fight. So I really think this one's a decent one to pick up for arts units. And, obviously, if you wanted to use it on support, you could, but it wouldn't be as ideal for using on someone like Lady Avalon since she doesn't have an offensive NP. So in that regard, not too good for specifically her, but for a lot of other units, this could be a very quality C. So that is the 31 million downloads campaign in a nutshell. It came out of nowhere, it felt like, but I do feel like this was pretty well timed by the devs. Let me know what you guys think about this and what you would like to see them do different if you could change anything with this campaign. Also, let me know who you're going to grail with the new grails. I'll be curious to hear you guys' thoughts, and I will see you guys for the next one. Thank you all for watching. Later. Yeah, I had to do that in 2 takes. That's the first video in a long time I've had to do in 2 takes. That FP thing threw me for a frickin' loop. All it does have for available is the support for Embers. It's not even FP. Okay, so I need to make a note for Okayus to, like, not include that at all. They've done that before. Better to catch it now since the fix is easier. Oh, yeah. I don't have any issue with it, but, like, it was just weird because I'm not going to blame fandom so much for this because this is, I guarantee you, exactly how they list it basically in the actual like event thing. And shit like this is just confusing. Because like the devs try to make a big deal out of this, and meanwhile you're like, no one cares. Was it from Valentine's? God damn it. That's my bad. Winds of Spring from the 2023 Valentine's event on JP. Now there's a new soundbite. I hate doing that to OKist. But that'll fix it. I saw that see a lot in rolling. Yep. Yeah, I thought this was a really, really good download campaign. It's not like the best one they've ever done, quote unquote. We obviously know that's not the case. It's just quality. It's just nice. It does more stuff. The magic of editing? Listen, it's funny, chat. Do you know how many people have already like caught on to the fact that something got like replaced in the middle of the Lotto video? Like, so many people have caught on and they're like, what were you saying there? And it's like, don't worry about it. Because that's really all it is. If you guys ever notice a like jump cut like that or anything, it's just I flubbed a word really bad. Like, I said a wrong thing. It doesn't mean like I sat there and like cursed or said a slur or anything. It just means that like I literally fucked up. And so I had to have OKS edit it for me. Did you mention if Proto Merlin is worth rolling? No. That should be self-evident at this point. Also, like, I mean, I guess I could be like, hey, go watch my video on Proto Merlin. But there's only so many times I want to plug my own shit in a video. Because there's a point where I start to sound like a broken record. And it's like, hey, have you watched this video, this video, this video, this video, this video? Guess this means all the YouTube video watchers need to start watching stream to find out what the jump cuts are. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind that. I think that's actually good, right? I think it's a good thing to do things that way. If that makes sense. People do it all the time. Oh, yeah. Who can you ascend right now? No one. Literally no one. Probably just esports gong. That's who my guess was going to be, but even he's already through his ascension. So I actually don't know who it's claiming I can level. Poor level 1 Kashin, she'll get there. She'll get there, chat. Kat, do you think there will ever be a time that command codes need a second archive? Yeah, we're getting there. We have 900 storage. And I meant what I said there, chat. Like, now that you have 900 slots for command codes, you can start putting some command codes on people. You can start just going through and being like, all of my SSRs, boom, command code. There you go. Like that. I think the thing that pisses me off is that they did this way too late, where like, I'm not going to say I'm done rolling out my FP, but like, I am just riding high on like, oh man, they give out so many coins, so now I don't have to roll out my FP very often. I saw one on your Ascension button. Yeah, I have no idea why. I'll just forget the storage is a thing until it fills up, and then I'll be horrified. It happens to me all the time now. You guys could see, like, the prior cap was 500. I am sitting at literally 498. So now, chat, the question is, since CAD has extra grails, who we grailing? Who get the cup? Actually, yeah, hold on. What was the... Evelyn linked it to me before. So Archer's actually one of the last ones. But similarly, Assassin's pretty slow as well. Gonna keep that on the side. Rider's dead middle. Yeah. So Saber's good. Berserker's good. Lancer's good. Rider's good. Assassin's not. Archer is not. Well, Archer isn't Bontan, but she's good. And Caster, I mean, I have Castoria or Ace on the way. Jarcher Bonten? No, my Jarcher's definitely not Bonten. Misty Amogus, thank you for the follow. Welcome. Are there no grand servants in the extra class? So, funny thing about that. Kind of difficult to see because the quality of this image is bad. But down here are these little two things, and what this is this is the 4 squares and the 4 squares, and then it has a 1 and a 2 here. So this is extra 1 and extra 2. So this is their way of saying, hey, we're not sure, but I'm going to tell you the fact that they even put it on this thing means you're getting it. This is like proof positive that you will get it. Because if they weren't going to give us extra classes, they wouldn't have put it on the graphic. They would have just tried to pretend it wasn't a thing and ignore it. So the fact that they put it on the graphic means you're getting it. But when? Probably not in the same, time frame as these. Because again, this is slated for May. So we can assume that this is probably June, July, August, September, October, November. And then probably December is your actual release of the end chapter. Well, end of part 2, not end of FGO. I think if you could not grand extras, they would have just come out and said it. I agree. And like, this is something I brought up in like some of my earlier videos about the grand system, is like, would they allow for an extra class? Because in the past, they kind of have indicated that only the 7 base classes can be grands. But this was, like that's not going to be popular with the fans. So I think this is just like them throwing us a bone and saying like, yeah, you'll eventually be able to. However, chat, y'all do need to prepare yourself for the possibility that you can only have 2 extra grands. Somebody from the extra 1 pool and somebody from the extra 2 pool. So don't think, oh, I'm going to be able to have a grand of every extra class. That may be a thing, but you need to prepare for it might not be. Where does Beast fall into? They will probably group them how they did with class score. Shocking, I know. I think you're right. There'll be a slot for extra 1 and extra 2. Yeah. Ooh, here's a fun idea, chat. What if there's a separate support list for grand classes? And that would be why they did an extra 1 and an extra 2. Do you think we can change our grand later on? Because what if I already made a grand saber, then they release a saber I really like? We could approach that from the mentality of, do I think and like, will they? Or we can approach this from the reverse mentality. They absolutely will allow you to change your grand class, because if they don't, people will scream. What do I mean? Well, chat, I've already brought up this possibility of, we know there are grand quests that need to get done. So, like, I want y'all to imagine something. What if you choose somebody for that class to be a grand, and they can't complete the quests? Yeah! So, like, you chose poorly. Well, like, again, like, imagine, like, oh man, I know who I'll choose for Lancer. I'm gonna meme this shit, and I'm gonna choose Grand Lancer Benkei. And then all of a sudden, it's like, yeah, Benkei actually isn't strong enough to do it, and you die, and you can't get through it. But you're locked because you chose Benkei. They have to allow it. They have to. I don't see any other way around it. I mean, if you think about it, chat, it's probably fine, because there is a restriction that the unit must be level 100 and they must be 10-10-10. So it's not like people are going to sit there and just be like, oh, I know, I'll just shuffle through every single like unit in this class. Like, obviously people are going to have like 1 to 2 units for each class. Probably easy enough for the base fight. Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see how they do that. Pancake can't beat it. What do you mean he's number 1? They still haven't allowed us to reset Grails. I understand. However, Grails are not a limited resource anymore. Case in point, they just gave JP 25. So, like, I agree with you. If this were in the past, I would have absolutely, like, 100% agreed with you. But this is not your old man's FGO anymore. I don't know. I could always use more Grails. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think if they ever add that feature, it'll be really popular. But they technically don't have to because there's just always more Grails. They'll just be like, oh, you did a fucky wucky. Oh, too bad. Keep playing the game. Didn't any Grails added a monthly mana prism shop? I mean, from a lore perspective, that's kind of wild. I just want to get rid of Grails from like 2 units because they're a mistake. Yeah, it'd be the same thing with me. Not that I've ever made a mistake, right, chat? Let us remove code removers for moving our Grails around. I mean, that'd be a decent way to repurpose them. But you love Anning. I actually do like Anning as a character, so like it wouldn't be out of like, I hate her, how dare she. It would literally just be like, I'm sorry, you were just holding this for me. 3D print your knockoff Grails via coins and receive one via DaVinci approved Grail a month. Yeah. The Mega Bond kettles to the MP shop. You're talking about the Bond? The teapots? I don't remember when that happened. The ones from the raid event, yeah. Oh, from the raid event? I don't think you'll ever get that. Yeah, so in a weird way, I'm prepared on JP. I literally like she's who I gotta finish. Which, chat, I know y'all want me to level Kashi and Koji, but like this comes first. And if anyone in chat wants to criticize me for that, Avalon is not someone who can. And he knows why. Level Lalter Madge? My Lalter is level 100! Don't get me wrong, I probably will eventually take her to 120. That's a coin issue, though. She needed the 120. Same! Can't complete story, too bad no grand servant reset. Yeah, like I foresee them making the grand system not restrictive. I think it's gonna be a like only one servant can be a grand at a time, but same deal as like we've seen in story. It's like that servant can change. If you're leveling Ace, you're double dipping. Oh, chat, the issue isn't Embers. That's not the issue. I mean, like, I guess kind of. I could probably use all of my embers and then I wouldn't finish either of them. But the issue is primarily that like it's a coin problem at the moment for me. You want people pissed off, lock an event behind story where someone is unable to finish the story. Yep. Always comes down to lacking coins as per usual. Yeah, it's like I've said, it's literally like them doing, hey, you can get more coins, but I put it behind bond was the worst way they could have handled that. If they had treated it like, say, evocation leaves, I'm good. And by the way, I still really like that idea. I still really like the idea of chat. Hear me out. So we know for a fact. Let me see if I can find it. And we know this one's leaving the list. So let's just right now assume that 2 others leave. There's only 6 that remain. Actually, wait, didn't we just get Satanta chat? Satanta got a rerun. Did we also get Eliza? He's not in the Evo shop. Okay. So only 6 remain. That is enough that, like, literally, that is 2 Evos worth. Okay? That is 2 Evos worth. They could easily handle that in this year. Now, hear me out, chat. How do you guys feel about this idea? Your evocation leaves. What do you do when you have no more use for them? Because you will continue to get these. They are literally part of the login bonus. Like your normal weekly login bonus. Get servant coins to burn? What do you do when you've purchased literally everything? This has been my idea. Is like, hey, what if they actually allowed you to turn these instead into you're able to purchase other sources of coins with them? And it doesn't have to be like a 1-to-1 rate, right? Like you can, I mean, it's not even a 1-to-1 rate when you buy the coins for the actual units in the shop. It's actually fairly expensive. So like, what if though they allowed that sort of thing to be a thing? Universal coins? Maybe, or maybe like you actually have a coin exchange and you go like, hey, now I can go and get coins specifically for these units. So it's like an interesting idea. And it would be decently like kept. I don't see them doing that because of the exact same reason that everyone in chat's thinking that they won't. Because quite literally, there's no money in it for them. They just like, oh, you have too many leaves? Whatever, let them rot. Who cares? Like the same issue with me having too many mana prisms, right? Nobody cares. Just let my mana prisms rot. But you could allow for something like that, and it would be really cool, and people would really like it. Because the only players that are going to have that are going to be veteran players that have been around long enough to have already had so much of the resources. Trade Evo coins for SQ or tickets. That's never happening. Coins are bad enough, but coins are at least indirect. I mean, I say that, like, I don't know. They could maybe make it so that you could purchase a set amount a month or something. You use them by storm pods. Oh, that's an interesting idea. What if you allowed evocation leaves to buy storm pods? Huh. The thing is that, I mean, like, being able to have access to the better, like, bleached earth nodes would be something, but, like, if you actually think what storm pods do besides enabling that, they just give you stardust. And so it's like, eventually we probably don't need stardust either, right? So it's just, it's like, it's changing one currency into another. But it would be cool to see how, like, some of the other gacha games have a, like, monthly shop. Kind of like how we have with like Mana Prism Shop, right? But it'd be cool to see them allow you to like convert that into like other usable assets. Because then it would be like a reward for, it's like, oh, you're a veteran player, you have all the shit done. This currency is worthless to you. Now we'll allow you to convert it into something else, even at a like crazy bad exchange rate. Bronze saplings? Could be interesting. Time to buy coder members? Bro. When I convert it into mana prisms? I actually like that idea. That's not a bad idea to me. Converting it into mana prisms would be really nice because players absolutely do want that. Like, mana prisms are such a weird currency at the moment. Veteran players have done a ton of lotto farming and have hundreds of thousands of them. Newer players are like, I need more. They can't get enough. There's no amount of mana prisms that will ever satisfy their need. So, like, it would be rough. They'd want rare prisms more. They would. And I'm not going to say that'd be a terrible idea. But I feel like mana prisms would be more usable. I think MPs are worth more. Yeah, a little bit. Rare prisms are really down in value at this point because of two reasons. One, the majority of items that you used to require rare prisms to purchase no longer cost rare prisms. And two, or at least they can be made not to. Or two, the monthly items that you get, it's basically down to crystallized lores and bond grails, really, for what people want the most. And both of those, I'm not going to say that they are like undesirable, but their exchange rates are pretty hefty, and the game gives you a lot of them. So you kind of sit there and you go like, I don't know that it's that necessary. Like you do want them, but it's not like I think people almost put too high of a value on it at this point. I have like 30 bond grails. Yeah, the bond grail issue is like you literally just can't use your bond grails fast enough most of the time. Maxing out BB and Altera Santa. Yeah, I agree with that. More so, lores, bond grails are still more desirable. Lores are everywhere. Bond grails are still an issue, though, because most people on JP are still riding on the initial influx they gave out. Like, you need far more lores than you need bond grails. So it's like, it makes sense that they're more plentiful. Whereas bond grails, it takes you a long time to move through them. Like, I'll give you guys an example. Like, I could probably use so many of my bond grails at the moment. Apparently only 6. Yep. Just these, chat. These are the only available units for me to bond grail that I haven't. Now, let me ask you this. Should I? Should I bond grail them? Do you wanna? Let's say I did. Should I? Not unless you plan to use them. Yeah, that's kind of the issue. Yeah, like I was sitting there thinking, it's like out of all of these, it's actually Asclepius is who I would and may potentially do. So like, let's go look at this. Oh shit. How many do I have? Yeah. Honestly, the Bond Grail market kind of crashed. They gave out so many of them. Not gonna use them. Lawful good alignment with the 20% Bond C team. That's fine. But yeah, it's like, you guys can have your reasons for doing it. The idea is pure and simple. Will I use the character enough to actually hit the next rank? And if I don't, I shouldn't Bond Grail them. You can forcibly put them into your party and try to go after it, but that is no different, chat, than literally just backline bonding any other unit. It's actually the same rate of quartz acquisition. People go like, "Ooh, I'm going to get 30 quartz off of this." You are. Also, keep in mind, every single one of these is the equivalent of like basically leveling all the way up to Bond 10 again. Mayonnaise even has something like 8 or something, and we'll get 36 more from Ordeal Call. Yeah, I stopped buying them on an A because I knew how many we had coming. So it's like, it's not that you can't use them, it's that it's going to take everybody a long time to run out, and it's not something that I sit there and go like, ooh, I'm going to buy a Bond Grail every month. I can't remember the last time I bought a Bond Grail out of the Rare Prism shop. It's legitimately been that long for me. It's been years, yeah. Nice, Ahado. I'm still sitting on like 7 bottom girls, the more you know, I guess. Yeah. How are we getting 32 bond grails? We get a ton of them given out for Ordeal Call. It's part of the pre-campaign. You're gonna get. I think I talked about this in the banner review, which people haven't been watching the banner review for me this year. It feels bad, man, but it is what it is. If you aren't using a serving in a Storm Pod node team, front or back line, it may take a while. The issue that I've had with a lot of the Storm Pod nodes, more than anything, Beans, thank you for the 26. Every 3 months or so, depending on my RP. Yeah. I was going to say, it's like the issue I've had is. What am I filtered by? Is this? 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 So it's like. The units that I need to actually amplify the damage for those nodes are Bond 15. So it becomes a problem. I guess in theory it's like, oh, I don't have to 3-turn and stuff. It's like, well, I understand that, and you're right that I don't. The health value on the nodes are such that, like, if you don't 3-turn it, odds are you're taking an exorbitant amount of time to do it. Because you're really trying to hit the window within the 3-turn synergy. So it's not that I can't do it. It's that I just sit there and I go like, man, I don't know that I really want to. Admittedly, when I look at my JP account, there's a couple of other issues here too. So like, my Scotty is bond 14. Let's go check ruler. I think she's 12. Oh, only 10. Okay. Like, ruler still got quite a bit of mileage. The issue I have in my JP account is my JP damage dealers for quick are not nearly as robust as some of my Arts and Buster are. And it's both like a conscientious choice and also just like, this is just kind of the way the game has been type deal. And JP has not made me regret it yet, which is their own damn fault. So it definitely makes it harder to get bond efficiency out of things like the ordeal call nodes. And an example I can give you guys is this. I actually haven't used Castoria Berserker that much. Like, I've used her, chat, but I haven't used her to the degree that you would think that I have, having her at this bond level. I got her to this bond level in like a month of doing Bleached Earth quests. Yeah, frontline bond bonus is nasty in that regard. Like, it's really good for bonding a unit, but when you sit there and you go like, wait, I don't want to bond a unit this fast, then it starts to be like, hold on. Ace Merlin in the backline. Yeah, that's fine. Like, I mean, I can point out like most of my off meta supports are still pretty high. Here. It's not like I can't use them, right? But I mean, this one's actually the surprising one for me. Is Waver already at that level? You saw my Asclepius' Bon Ton. Where's some of the others? This is the oh god. Oh, that's funny. I was gonna say that's the surprising one. Oh my god, fingers. I can get more use out of her. I've actually gotten really good use out of her. And I've been pleasantly surprised. It's why, like, when so many people keep telling me like she needs an upgrade, I'm like, she's actually like people are undervaluing her as a support. She's really, really strong compared to what most people think she's capable of. Use Caskill often? No, not particularly. That was my JP Caskill. Yeah, he's only bond 7. Like, there's still units I can get value out of, don't get me wrong. Oh, he's NP3. Okay, he's stronger than I thought he was. My Para. Para's only bond 6. There you go. What is my Shufu? Shufu bond 7. So. Do you save your 4-star foes or do you use them sporadically? I use them sporadically, but there's a reason for that. God, this is such a like difficult choice. I have everything right about at the same level on that ticket. Don't question it, chat. Don't question it. Don't question it, chat. Stop questioning it. I can feel you questioning it. Stop questioning it, chat. Don't question it. Not a thing. I know what you're thinking. Don't worry about it. Okay? Don't worry about it, chat. Don't worry about it. You're worrying about it. Stop. It'll be fine. Okay? It'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Cat got a USO. Cat got a USO on JP. That's my first ever USO, by the way, on JP. I hadn't gone in and cleared out my mailbox in a hot second. I was gonna be like, this is why. So this is why, because like at any given moment, I always have somebody that I can be gold foeing. Like, it's just that simple. There's always another saber face. So it doesn't matter. I'm worrying, that's for sure. I'm actually curious, how much quartz do I have now? Jesus. And save my gold foes for a unit I really want to go on. I mean, it's a saber face. It's a unit I really want to go on. Like, that's all it is. That's all there is to it. Row, fight the power. God, there are so many banners. What the shit, game? Holy crap. Give me that. FP roll stream win? This isn't even bad. Okay, this isn't even bad. This is a good number. This is a good number. Okay? I need you all to understand that. This is a good number. Don't look at my NAFP amount. This is a good number. Don't look at my NAFP amount. That's all I can say. A 100 roll win, please. I desperately want that quality of life on an A. I had shit FP income for like 6 years. Yeah. Should bring it as part of 8th Annie. That would be a cool surprise. As an editor, I deserve at least 10% of those FP points. Okayest, you can have half. You can have half. Okay? I don't need them. It's not that I don't need them. It's I don't want to roll them. That's the truth. Who are you rolling for? We're not. I was just throwing la singles at saucy ladies. If CAG could give away FP, he would be Oprah. I shit you not. You can go ask Andre just how many times I've been like, hey, Andre, you want to roll out my FP? And Andre always is like, sure. And then I'm like, no, I shouldn't give someone else my account. That would be bad. But like, there have been so many times I've been like, yo, you should roll out my FP. Because I know nobody wants to do it. FP has just always been one of those like really bad things in that regard. All right, chat. My ass is tired. Let's end it here. Blah 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 blah. Like the power. All right, chat. I'm gonna rate us into Miss Ivy because I think I rated Musaki last time, and they're streaming together. So lots of fun discussions. Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I have no idea what tomorrow will hold. Maybe JPCQ and other stuff. I do have other content that I can record for you guys, but like, if you guys can't tell, me kind of tired. Just this week is what it is. So Again, go check out the Sakamoto Ryoma buff video. We'll probably have this one up for you guys tomorrow as well. And obviously the Lotto guide. Y'all know the deal. Yeah. Go give Miss Ivy and Mr. Gacha Gurus my love, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Later.